Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the indieRIFT podcast. It's me, it's Steve, it's him, it's Andy. And we are the indieRIFT podcast, the internet's #1 indie gaming news, reviews, and previews podcast you don't watch and probably never heard of, that posts all over the interwebs for your enjoyment. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Can you believe that it's been 2 weeks since PAX and neither one of us is sick?
Yeah, no sick. No PAX plague. It's kind of
We
crazy.
didn't get no plague this year. I was waiting for it, but it never happened.
Yeah, man.
So I think the curse is broken.
It hasn't been 2 weeks. It can't be 2 weeks.
Oh, it's been okay. It's been.
It would be 2 weeks on Thursday.
It'll be 2 weeks Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're in the clear.
Yeah, I mean,
by the time this goes up to there tomorrow, Wednesday, it'll be close to 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, usually PAX plague hits me before I even leave PAX. Like, I'm just feeling like garbage, so.
You call it the PAX plague if you're like en route.
PAX plague, yeah.
It's found you. It's the final destination.
Like, PAX Unplugged. PAX Unplugged, the whole group I was with for that had no voice by day 3 and were absolutely miserable by day 4. Just felt like shit. And then the Monday, 2 of the 3 of us had a fever. So, yeah.
Well,
this year,
doorknobs.
No, it was just, this year was just, I think this year was, well, let's get into it. Okay, folks, This show is going to be all about PAX, our experience at PAX, and the games that we want to highlight from PAX. This year's PAX was probably the smallest in every metric since we started covering PAX. I would say it had the smallest footprint, definitely the smallest attendance I've seen in a long time. It just didn't quite have the wow factor that we come to expect from certain aspects of PAX. How do you feel?
Yeah, man. I feel like it's like a dying star collapsing in on itself in a lot of ways. But I feel like if you really planned out the day, you could see almost everything in a whole day.
Which is
by day 2, I knew exactly where everything was. Even though oddly enough, we were getting lost.
Yeah.
Because nothing was laid out. There were no numbers on any booths I found.
Yeah, it was
the second day, I knew where to go.
They changed a lot at the last minute, and you could tell because there were some numbers that were like very faded because they clearly tried to erase the numbers and like reorganize everything. Like there were 1300s in with like the 1600s, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And you're like, oh shit, that's an old number. And like half the booths more than half didn't have anything like on the actual booth itself. Rumor has it that Nintendo dropped out very last minute for PR reasons. They didn't want to deal with explaining to people why the games are costing so much on the next gen and like all of that stuff, which is weird because no one, like, know your audience. No one gives a shit about that at PAX. It's just a bunch of parents with their kids that just want to play the new Nintendo thing. And like,
and also like to your point, to add to that, they don't send their own people to things like PAX. They hire an outside company to be mouthpieces for them. So they would take the brunt. Just say, I'm not Nintendo. I'm just running the Pokemon booth. I'm running the Donkey Kong station.
Right.
I can't help you, sir.
There was Pokemon, right?
Oh, madam.
Pokemon was there. I think.
There was a Pokemon thing.
Yeah.
What were they showing though?
No idea. There are, this year there were three things that I just avoided altogether. It was anything Pokemon, Nintendo, whatever. Usually I ignore both, but this one specifically was Pokemon. I avoided Elden Ring, and I avoided the Magic the Gathering / Final Fantasy thing. Like I just those were areas that just had really long lines all the time for whatever reason, and they're 3 properties that I don't really need to know anything about. I know Jimmy had enjoyed the the Elden Ring panel twice. And the
Why?
not a panel, it's like a demo or whatever. Like they have people
It
like
was the
play it live.
weirdest. Can I just get into that for a quick second?
Sure.
I have minor issues with how the show with some booths at the show, and that's one of them. Elden Ring Night Rain, I believe, launches Memorial Day weekend or the 27th or next Tuesday. Actually, it launches. And Namco decided to forego playable stations and booths for a 40-minute demo of streamers and staff members playing the game.
Yeah.
So you're watching a run of the game,
Right.
which is nice, but why not just have it out there for folks to play and for themselves? Seems like a weird
Yeah.
choice when you're so close to launching the title and folks can't play it and they're waiting online just to watch someone else play. And they chose one person at random from the audience to participate alongside them
Yeah.
based on their knowledge of Elden Ring lore, or if you beat the DLC, they give you a quiz. Did you beat the game? Did you beat the DLC? And some other crap. I forget. Like, this is a really weird format. Like, it's like, hey, here's a trailer. Let's talk about the game. Then walk outside to play the actual thing. Never happened.
Yeah.
So that Jimmy liked it, I don't get why.
Well,
You're just watching
he
folks.
just liked the so he went 2 different times. He and the first time he went, I guess the group that was playing like did really well. And then the second time he went, the group got one shot.
So I guess the first time we were together, that was because they did really well. They actually
I
finished
don't know.
the.
I don't know it was the first day I think that he went. So yeah, it's you know, that was weird. That was just a strange kind of setup, but
Yeah.
you know, I think that you know, we didn't do a lot of show floor content because we had technology issues, but really I think this was our best our best PAX as far as getting ourselves out there and being able to actually articulate who we are, because we weren't worried about that interview and like ramming through a demo so that we could figure out what we're going to talk about and then doing a really quick interview
Yeah.
and then getting out to our next appointment. Like, this was more about, here's what we do, here's why we think it's important, let's chat and then exchange info. Boom, we have future guests for the show. And then of course
Yeah.
we were, you know, trying to network and get more subscribers, followers, and stuff like that while we were out and
got
about.
a nice chunk of people, like
Yeah.
30, 40 people, which is
Yeah, I
not
mean,
bad.
we just
And
need a
we
couple
really
of them to
tried
hit.
to get for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
Had we tried the entire 4 days, we would have had more numbers, but yeah, I liked how we were a little bit more casual. I think the tech failure worked in our favor. It allowed us to, like, you spent a whole day at the tabletop stations. That was great for you. You got to meet some people on that side. And you know, it was good. I liked it.
yeah,
But it did kind of put the bug in my ear to kind of have a bit of a redo, and we want to go to PAX West this year and like bring the energy to that, because it's going to be a new show for us, new city, new people, and I want to do our
yeah,
typical ish, but on the West Coast.
yeah. We'll see what happens. You know, we're gonna go. Just at what capacity we're gonna go is kind of up in the air. But I think at the very least, you and I will go. So it might be old school dual screen Nintendo dual screens, taking turns videoing each other, and you know, we'll see.
Taking turns holding the camera.
Yeah, taking turns, throwing our trench coat down.
Or like the selfie shot.
Indeed. All right, so why don't we just get into you know, the games, because that's really what people are here for. All of these games should be added to your wish list if we talk about it. Essentially, I think I want to start with a game that kind of surprised me a little bit. I want to start with Pizza Bandit.
Holy shit! This is the first game we played. I played
as a group. Yeah, when you showed up, this is the first one we played as a group. Yes.
Well, yeah, you did things on Thursday because I landed on Friday. So yeah, it was our first, like myself, you, and Matt were all playing this game together.
Yep.
But please,
First, a small story. looking for it, looking for the booth. This is when we first realized things are messed up. But also, I didn't know anything about Pizza Bandit, so I'm thinking cartoony pizza, overcooked to like maybe some sort of animals and whatever, like doing stealing pizzas, whatever. Nay.
You're thinking pizza possum. I think that's what got. I think that's
Yeah,
what.
like something like that. Yeah,
Pizza
exactly.
and then the pizza possum. Okay, is there a cartoony vibe here? I had the same impression when I saw the title, but then
Yes.
when we got
But then
there,
we got there, man. And let me tell you about Pizza Bandit. Pizza Bandit is a team shooter, extraction shooter, a team of 4, where you have to fulfill dystopian post-apocalyptic pizza orders while defending your pizza ovens. It is overcooked meets like Gears of War.
yes,
And it was a blast. Seeing these ridiculous characters in chef outfits running around. Yeah, you had one person focusing on like actually making the orders, which is like, what toppings go on the pizza, and then like what drinks go with the order. There's beer and soda and stuff like that, or like there's a couple of other things that you have to fulfill. It's just like Overcooked. You see it on the bar, you see the bar going down.
right.
You have to fulfill the order ahead of time. You could burn pizzas accidentally, stuff like that. And then when you finish your orders, you get extracted, and you get out. It was super fun. Like I don't know if this is gonna have the most legs out there. Like it could be one of
Right.
those novelty sort of play it for a week and then it kind of goes away thing, which I'm hoping it isn't. But everything about it felt really good. It felt like it did what it was supposed to do, and I was surprised really at how competent it was as a shooter in general. Yeah, it was one of those things where we all looked at each other, was like, why is this good?
And set the bar really high. It took away our best shooter award for the show. We should mention that.
Yes, indeed.
But surprisingly, really tight gunplay mechanics. I think the three of you were more focused on the ordering, and I was more on the shooty defending side because I couldn't pick up fucking pepperoni or cheese. Like I was gonna go shoot things.
Yeah.
I'll shoot the creatures and like I'll make sure we're okay. There's friendly fire. I think that was
Yep.
a fun part that people weren't aware of that, and it catches you off guard.
Yeah. Definitely one of those games that I think is going to be pretty hot on the old streamer scene for a little bit. Especially if they get really wacky with the customization, the characters, and the settings of all of your missions.
Weapons.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
weapons and stuff like that. Yeah, if they get
It could
really
get
silly with
funky.
it could be fun.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. This I don't know anything about, but it was on the list, and if you didn't play it, and if it was like a Matt or Jimmy thing, we'll skip it. But Everdeep Aurora,
Oh, I played that.
yeah, tell me
So
about
that
it.
was
It looks
at
really cool.
that was at the Easberg games booth.
Easberg.
Amazing, amazing folks, by the way. It is a Game Boy Color, or is Game Boy kind of a vibe going on, retro game, where you just have to dig. You're digging further into the earth,
Everdeep.
and you collect ore to fuel your drill to dig further. And as you're drilling, you meet people, you do quests, you find hidden rooms, all while trying to find, I believe it's your mother or your sister. There's a missing person you get a letter from. That's like the backdrop. Very simple gameplay. You can meet like a blacksmith to upgrade your drill that can drill through certain kinds of rock. There's like a Metroidvania-ish
Yeah.
quality to it. Really charming, really well written. It's all heart. And again, it's got amazing pixel art. And I played it for like maybe 20 minutes. I finished the whole demo while I was at the booth.
Oh, nice.
And I really can't recommend
I
it enough. It's
love the
definitely
art.
on my radar. Yeah.
I love how it's like it is Game Boy, but it also like it does a little bit extra. Like there's more frames than your your
Right.
brain is expecting to see, and it like
Yeah.
it puts it together really well.
Like
That's coming in
it
Q3.
respects the palette. Yeah. It respects the palette and the audio of the Game Boy, but it does more. It's like
Yeah.
modern sensibilities. So it's definitely one to watch. I think it's out later this year.
Yeah,
It's a great
Q3. Throw that on your wish list, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that was Everdeep Aurora, and the first game we spoke about was Pizza Bandit. I know that sometimes we say the name and then we talk about the game for a few minutes and then we forget to say the name again, and you're like, "What game was that?" So, and of course, the show notes will have the list of what we talk about. All right. I want to talk about another multiplayer game that I don't think you were here for this. Me, Jimmy, and Matt had played together. Oh no, it might have been just me and Matt, and then two other people that were like waiting to play.
Mhm.
It's a game called Fighters Forge.
Oh, the 3D beat 'em up.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
Fighting Force anew.
Seriously.
Yeah, it is a 4-player 3D beat 'em up, very much in the vein of like Fighting Force. What we played was actually what's on the screen right now is the versus mode, where you're just beating the crap out of each other, trying to push each other into trains and stuff of that nature. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, it's a little rough around the edges. You know, it was pretty early on in the or it when we played it versus like the like did the actual beat 'em up portion of it. It was just like Dynasty Warriors just flooded with bad guys, and you're just like, they're not all really doing much.
On screen at once.
There was a good amount. Like it was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 30 or 40, maybe.
Is it 4-player?
It is.
Co-op?
It's 4-player co-op, and it reminded me of like those not so great Ninja Turtle 3D ones, those like isometric kind of like you can move around a little bit.
Like the ones that are on the PS2.
Yeah,
When that
or
new
the
cartoon had come
or the
out,
new one that came out recently that
it was
I
like
played. Yeah.
Oh, that shitty one, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's just, whatever. But
That one great.
you know me and my beat 'em ups. We love a good beat 'em up, and it was a lot of fun. Like it took me by surprise. It's in early access right now for $10. Which, yeah, it certainly is in early access.
Right.
But
This is also, I believe, a 2-person team. Because I passed by the booth to give them the best beat 'em up award of the show, and those guys were just like so thrilled. They've
yeah,
been working on this game for a very long time. There's 2 dudes, clearly a passion project, and
hell yeah.
future guest of the show.
And there was a
So
little bit
look
of
forward to that.
a theme, because there was another booth that we came across that the game was a little rougher. It was a group from Brooklyn. I forget the name of the game, but they were also doing a Power Stone like beat 'em up game. So once that's in a little better shape, maybe we'll have some more thoughts on it. But we didn't get our hands on it. We were like walking past the booth and saw people playing it.
I know what this game is like immediately. You can't just say it's a Power Stone like game and not know what it's called.
I mean, it was in very rough like state. It was like a samurai something. I forget what it was called. But the developers are from Brooklyn. And their studio is in Industry City. So we will we'll hit them up. I did get their information. We'll hit them up soon and maybe get them on the show to talk about it.
Very good.
Yes. You also had a little surprise. I believe it was on your first day. Don't Wake the Beast.
Yeah, so this game was nestled in the PAX Rising section, which I believe is what they're calling the Indie Mega Booth now.
Yeah.
Right? Is that, am I getting that right?
Yeah, they don't do the Indie Mega Booth
So-
thing anymore.
I was just strolling around, because a lot of our favorite games from the show were nestled in the PAX Rising. A lot of them usually are in that big like open area.
Mhm.
And it was a sole developer. He was created this game called Don't Eat the Beast, and the plot is, or the format is, you are spelunking in a dragon's treasure-ridden cave. It's very Lord of the Rings. What's that dragon called?
Smaug.
Smaug. And you're approaching like the big treasure area. You're collecting small things. There's enemies on the map. It's an isometric, like Zelda top-down dungeon crawly. But your movement, how hard you press the joystick, sends out sound ripples throughout the cave, and it alerts the dragon to your presence. You get gear like a grappling hook, which you can use to pull blocks onto switches, very Zelda, to hold doors open. Or you can shoot the ceiling to lift yourself up to get out of the enemy's field of vision, which is really neat. I love that. And then as you're in the dragon's den, he has a massive field of vision. It's very Mark of the Ninja. Remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
See like that cone of the enemy's like
Yeah.
line of sight?
Yep.
Cast a wide net, and you're just going through, getting all these gems and necklaces and gold bars.
Stealing his
And once you
hoard, man.
gather it all up, what was that?
You're stealing his hoard.
Yeah, and once you get it all, he gets pissed off and it's a chase. And you have to exit the dungeon before he can catch you. He's like raining down fire on you. It's really intense. And I believe the other half is very Moonlighter.
Mm.
You can sell the gear, the treasures in the market to upgrade your gear for better runs and, more loot. So it's a
Indeed.
nice little cycle. And one guy made it. I think he's based in Russia.
Artificial
He got
disasters.
yeah. Yeah. He's got a good
Uh,
concept.
yeah, I like
Very
it.
great right work too.
Just, when do we get Don't Wake Daddy, the video game? Is the question. That is the true question. I played a game that I thought was an Andy-ass video game, and I really enjoyed it, and I really like it, and I think the Polish developer people
Oh my
booth
god.
was kicking ass this year.
I think they kind of outdid a lot of the big
Oh yeah,
booths that were there.
they're
Every year they bring better and better games, I feel.
yeah.
Holy shit.
This one came from Rock Square Thunder, and it's published by Broken Mirror Games. I hate this place. This game has 80s cell shade aesthetic. You wake up in a strange place. Very it's isometric survival horror. You wake up in a strange place. This guy with like this horns and like the elk mask or whatever kind of tells you your friend is in there. You have to escape, or they're listening, whatever kind of thing. And it's all about trying to like unravel the mystery. You're crafting a little bit. You could craft some items. It's all about what you can find. Conserving ammo. And there's this like creature beast thing with like tendrils that like are alerted to you by sound, and like the way the levels are set up, like one of the first places you visit in the demo is like this abandoned lab, and the lab has like broken glass everywhere, and like as you step on the glass, this thing is like alerted to where you are, and like the tendrils like come out, like the kind of like that those magnets with like the like the little powder and magnet thing, like where you raise the magnet over the powder, like
yes, yes.
it kind of reacted like that to the sound. And it was all voice acted, which was really cool. It's supposed to come out sometime this year. They do say it's open world, which I could see that, because yeah, I think I could see it more being like open world Metroidvania-y, because there were like just when you go into that first lab, there are certain objects you're getting to open up other doors to go further and like into this labyrinth. And then I can imagine like you get something from that first, like, you know how in Zelda you could do the dungeons in different orders, but like
Uh-huh.
some of them you can't because you need to get an item from another dungeon kind of thing. It kind of felt like that. Um, but I really like when you're walking, for example, your footsteps have the words thud, 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 and like when you're
Mhm.
walking over glass, it'll be like crunch, crunch, and like it's just very visceral and very, very cool, very 80s and early 90s vibes.
Yeah, it's
I'm
based on a
down.
graphic novel, I think, which is why it has that kind
Mm.
of comic book kind of aesthetic to it, which works really well. Uh, I passed by and I was watching some of the demo footage, and it reminds me of it's like teenagers, right? Like, is there a school setting or like that kind of
I
situation
don't
going
know if
on?
it's school because the way the demo started is you wake up, your friend is gone, and shit is crazy. And it's like
Right.
you were camping or something like that. Like you're in like the forest and like your fire's there and like there's some like other
Yeah.
camping stuff. So and then the stranger tells you like go over here and whatever. Um so it's
It has a
it
very like indie schlocky horror like
yeah,
undertone
I don't know what that is.
to it that I like.
Um the write up here is inspired by the award winning comic book series created by Kyle Starks
There you
and
go.
Artem Topolin. I Hate This Place plunges you deep into the supernatural world where the rules of reality come undone. The playful meets the petrifying in this strange corner of the universe. Everything here wants you dead. Whatever you do, avoid the horned man at all costs. It felt really good, like tight. The atmosphere was sick. It just felt, I wanted to keep playing. Um, but alas, we had to go see other things.
Yeah. And it's also got our best horror game of the show too.
Indeed.
It's a really good pick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool. Um, but it was not without competition, Andy, because you saw something
Mm,
on, I believe, your last day or second to last day. Love
mhm.
Eternal.
Holy
Love
shit.
Eternal.
This was one of the best experiences at PAX East because uh,
Interesting.
I wasn't aware what this game was when I first played it. So it's a precision platformer like VVVVV or other ones similar to it. I want to be the guy. Um, meets horror.
Okay.
So you got like two genres I love meshed together. So as I'm playing it, the marketing guy from Easebird, a lovely guy named Kyle, was saying how the foundation was a game called Love. Love is one of my all-time favorite games. I would play it on the fucking Ouya, like obsessively.
That is not a sentence. I didn't think I would ever hear, but not
On
in the
anyone's
year of our
bingo
Lord
card.
2025.
So, and that was just a regular precision platforming game. This takes that, but there's horror. So the setup is like you're in your house, quiet suburbia, you know, as American as apple pie as it gets. You know, your mom or dad's like, dinner's ready, come on down. Walk downstairs, phone rings. Can you go answer that, sweetie? Yeah, I got it, mom or dad. You go off, answer the phone, nothing. There's like no static, no voice, dead silence.
Jeez, that just scared the
You
hell out of
walk
me.
back, whatever, wrong number, who knows? Walk back, and the family is just gone. Without it's like a black hole absorbed them into another reality. And then you leave to find them, and like a few screens go by, and you're in like some weird ass labyrinth, like jumping and dodging, and the main mechanic is gravity. So you can flip gravity mid jump to avoid spikes and pitfalls, and you're kind of going about your way,
Mm.
trying to see what's going on, and there's like another you. like in the distance that you're starting to chase. So that happens. And then when you catch up to this other you, this shadow you go through a door and you're back in your house again. Cool. Awesome. All the doors are locked. Not creepy at all. And then you see what I believe is your father's head, just his head floating at the dining room table,
Mm-hmm.
and like some weird appendages sprout from it.
Yeah.
And then it cuts demo over. Fuck yes. That is horror.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
The platforming
I
kind of
loved
reminds me of like Dundara a little bit with like the gravity, playing with the gravity.
Yeah. They introduced some fun mechanics. There's like a red gemstone. When you grab it, you can like do a double flip. So you have to time your flips to like go through spikes or like go through like laser beams to like activate switches to turn them off. Um, really challenging. And it's also out this year. And I cannot wait. It is my jam through and through.
Your jam indeed.
Mhm.
Let's stick with the and again that was Love Eternal. Love Eternal. Um Next up here was a game that took home our prestigious game of show, Constance, which we
Oh,
have
oh.
it has a demo up there. We got hands on a little bit. We got handsy um over at PAX. This is a Metroidvania action platformer. Um,
Celestalvania. I think that's like
Celestalvania.
what they're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a artist who um, is like dreaming, and in this like dream world, you're kind of working through like her mental health challenges, kind of like Celeste. But you're armed with paint. So everything is like paint themed as far as like your attacks and everything like that. All the movement,
Mhm.
there's like Splatoon like puddles of paint where you like slide and stuff like that. Absolutely gorgeous game, like stupidly pretty. Um, love the enemy designs and the platforming is exactly what you think it would be if you've played Celeste before. It has a little bit of like that guacamole um charm to it as well, or like challenge to it. Um, you there's like one dash mechanic that helps you go through some um what's the word I'm looking for? Obstacles, and then there's other one that like there's this like black goo, and then like if you do a certain attack, the black goo will go away. You dash through it, it'll come back, and like you're kind of bouncing around. Um, combat's fun. Jimmy, I think, was able to complete it. I did not because I died a few times, and then I stepped over and interviewed um the people there. But um this was, I mean, it's stunning. It's a stunning game, and I think it's going to be one of those games that gets talked about for a long time if it
Mhm.
does what we've been shown
Mhm.
to the scale that it's is promised. If this is a fully realized dozen or so hour adventure, 8 to 12 hour adventure with a full rich story. I think this is going to be one of those games that is talked about forever, like Celeste or um, Hollow Knight or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I feel like I don't want this game to be swallowed up by by Silk Song's Shadow,
Mm.
because it has a lot of like Hollow Knight influences in the art style and the look of it and the aesthetic. Um, but it's its own thing, mechanically, gameplay wise, design, and I think you nailed it. This could be like Animal last year, like that level
Yeah,
of like really stellar, like a masterpiece of an experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I believe the team also hired therapists to kind of like tell the story appropriately about the mental health aspects of this character.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah, and they're not just sidebar. There was another game that also hired actual therapists to help with their game design as well. I actually have the name of that. It was one of the games that I played. Which one was that? That was
Very Hellblade of them to do that.
yeah, Whirllight. No Time to Trip, the point and click game.
Oh, that one looked interesting.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah.
It was cute. I'm not a point and click
What
guy.
did you tell me? If I ever put you in a point and click booth, you'll end my life.
I will kill you. I would not hesitate. If I go up to a booth and my initials are next to that game and I have to point and click all of the shiny things on the screen and then try and figure out how to solve the puzzle, I will kill you.
You really shouldn't have told me that. You have completely screwed yourself.
Listen, the bit
I am going to exclusively assign point and click games.
I'll quit. I'll just leave. I'll leave.
I want to see you walk away. Oh, which reminds me, end of the show. I almost walked away from a station, but we'll get to that later.
Oh my.
Teaser at the end of the show.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into music rhythm section of our talk here, because we both played something.
It's a category.
Yeah, we both played something that has them rhythm ups and RPGs. Indeed. We'll start with yours. We'll start with Fretless.
Yeah, Fretless is a turn-based pixel art RPG where you're like a guy with a guitar,
kind of like a bard.
And you murder enemies through song. It's really well put together. It has very Mario RPG vibes, or if you time your button presses during combat, you can strike harder and block. So it works for your defense and your offense. You can customize your guitar with mods. There's a bit of a deck building element where your attacks are songs or notes, or I forget what the exact.
They're like chords.
format is.
They're like
Chords,
they're musical, chords and whatnot, and power chords and
right. So you can build like or strings. That's what it could be, or something. So you have your loadout like any deck building game. You pick your attacks and your offense, like your shield, and your it attacks one enemy or all enemies. So as you play, you unlock more. There's like ultimate attack. So if you time your button presses, you build a secondary meter to unleash your ultimate attack, which is also a mini game unto itself. There's some button pressing, very much like a rhythm game, but not quite like yours, but similar. It's just
like Patapon,
kind of QTE, yeah, ish.
Patapon.
Just timing the presses.
Yeah.
Viva! I was thinking about that game too. That's weird that you mentioned that. It's so weird.
Man,
legit, I was trying to find a GIF of them saying "miracle" for some reason today.
Man, just thinking about that game gives me chills.
It's a good game, dude. So really great pixel art, solid combat. I love me a turn-based, very charming. A highlight of the show. Like, I was drawn in by the pixel art.
Yeah.
And a turn-based anything is always fun to me, but the other elements really pushed it.
How's the sound? Because you had headphones on, so like I was just bopping around to like the button prompts.
Really good soundtrack. Like, I think an RPG of the turn-based variety lives and dies by its battle music.
Sure.
And that was some rockin' tunes.
Hell yeah.
Really good game.
All right. And that was Fretless, The Wrath of Rifson. Fretless, The Wrath of Rifson.
Right there. Fretless.
There it is. Fretless.
Right there.
Indeed. I played a little game that had quite a few people piled around it, called Nocturne, which was another take on sort of the rhythm RPG genre. Um, this is more of like a classic JRPG overworld exploring enemies, you know, spawn up kind of situation. You are in some kind of afterlife. Like your consciousness is like uploaded to like some sort of digital afterlife, and you're sort of trying to
Everyone's
piece things
dead.
together. Yeah, everyone's dead. You're in this
Everyone's
kind of
dead.
afterlife. I think
Yeah.
you find your brother, and you're sort of wandering around trying. You know, there's a bridge that's corrupted, and like that's kind of like your first little go here and uncorrupt the bridge. Um, but the battles are fought over Guitar Hero style tracks, where the key, well, in our sense it was the keyboard. It was D, F, J, and K were the four buttons across. You could also play it on controller, and I wonder if they're gonna have some sort of other periphery, but you never know. You never know. Um, this was surprising. Like a lot of people were crowding around that booth to play this game.
Mhm.
First of all, it's gorgeous. Um, it's got absolutely beautiful like 16-bit era pixel art beauty coming for it. But then you're hit with the fighting and the Guitar Hero style stuff, and you're just and the music is so kick-ass, so cool. Um, and you as you're chaining your combos together, so the enemy isn't also doing what you're doing. The enemy is instead, they're filling up a bar over time as you're hitting your
Mhm.
notes. So it's all about you getting enough notes hit so that you could fill up your bar. And each section of your bar that you fill up, you can unleash an attack. So
Mhm.
the better you are at hitting the notes, the faster your bars fill up, the more power or quickly you can attack. When your enemy's meter goes all the way up, that's when they will attack. It'll turn yellow. If you time it where you attack, you unleash an attack. So as you're doing rhythm stuff, like you're doing the Guitar Hero thing, it'll turn yellow, and then you'll have to like hit another button real quick. I think it was spacebar, um, to hit him, and you'll interrupt his attack, and then you can continue with the song or whatever. So it's like that risk and reward. I have 2 bars. He's about to attack. I'll spend, you know, the 1 bar on attacking now, but you could
Mhm.
attack anytime you have a full bar. Um, and you start in the demo. You have 3 possible levels of bars, like 3 sections. And if you fill it all the way up, you do like a special cool move. Um, Absolutely awesome. And then it has that very classic JRPG of like wandering around. Oh, I found a treasure chest here buried in the, you know, behind a corner you can't see kind of thing. And um, very cool, very cool. Throw that on there. You know, you should,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And also, like, surprisingly, there's a bit of controversy surrounding this game because one of the characters' names is Kimothy,
Kimothy, yes,
and that seems to drive people up a wall.
yes, indeed.
And there was mention of naming a second character, this character's sibling, Timberly.
Timberly, yeah, and Kimothy, yeah. Um, I'm all for it, man.
It is
I
so
am.
good.
Dad joke level of humor is like fine for me. Like I'm perfectly comfortable. That's like going to dip in the pool, and the pool's just like slightly cooler than the air outside, and it's totally fine. You know what I mean? Like you're just fine. Um,
Yeah.
all right,
But we'll
that
get
was
into that once we have Benjamin on the show. He's the lead developer
indeed
of Nocturne, so looking forward to that talk.
Nocturne. Keep your eye open. Throw that on your wish list right friggin' now. Don't be an idiot. Okay. What else can we I don't think you played this game, but this was on our list and it was spoken of very highly. Maybe you actually went by and played it on Sunday. I don't know, but Gigasword. Um, this was a
Gigasword is a great little game.
Tell
It
me
has a
about it.
fun story there too. So Gigasword is a classic like 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania, gorgeous pixel art, fun combat, but the best part about this game,
Oh.
Akupara Games is the publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy went there
Mm-hmm.
for the appointment earlier. I think it was on Friday. And he said, "Hey, there's a guy at the booth that knows you."
Oh.
I'm like, "What are you talking about? No one knows me anywhere." And that's how I like it, by the way.
Kind of a shitty way to go about life when you do a
He's like,
podcast
"Yeah, he says
weekly
he
for
knows
7
you.
years.
Go pass by and check it out." And I was like, "Okay." So I went over there. I'm like, "Hey, there's someone here that apparently knows me. I'm Andy. This guy, Buddy Sola, who now works with on the PR side. He's with Akupara Games. He used to write for me for a little website called Games Abyss, and that's also how I met Steven here when he
Look
wrote
at
for
that.
me, which I want to say was maybe 20 years ago.
Oh,
How long ago it was.
more. Well, no. 20.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
2010.
Okay, let's say 15 years.
Yeah, I think it was 15 years. Yeah.
So I was like, "Holy shit, buddy, how you been?" A little bit of a reunion. So I want to get him on the show and kind of like relive the old glory days of how we first met. And I like how he's still doing something in games and now he's championing indie games for a living. So that really warmed my heart. Like, "Oh, you're my writer. Like, I found you on Craigslist. And you wrote for me for like 2 years."
That's awesome.
That's really, that was a wholesome moment.
The
And the game is
last
great also. Which
thing I wrote for Games Abyss
and also
was in 2013.
there you go. Best solo dev of the show was
Oh.
Gigasword. Yeah.
Gigasword.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's a demo right now. You could add it to your library and play it for yourself, but that should be on your wish list. Again, don't be stupid. Put it on your wish list, you dumb idiot.
Dumb butt. These folks rely on the wish lists.
Indeed.
They really truly do.
They do.
It costs nothing to wish list the game.
What does it cost you, wish list, boys and girls? What does it cost you, honestly? Well, I mean, maybe a little electricity because you have to have your computing on. Maybe.
Right.
But you could do it from the Steam app.
If you're like Steve, you don't like point and click and stuff. I get it. Do it from the Steam app. Do it from your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of pointing and clicking, this little game I wasn't expecting to play, but I went to the indie.io booth and I saw a station open, so I played it and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. It's called Void Sayer. It is a Darkest Dungeon like, you know, choose your path and find the thing and then get to the boss and whatever. But it's got a Pokemon-like element to it where you're collecting creatures as you go to fill out your party. And there's a typing situation where, you know, some guys are weak, some creatures are weaker to other creatures and type and stuff. So you're
like typing of the day, you're typing out attacks. I was like,
no. Types. Yeah, like, animal types.
Animal types.
Yes. So like I had, which on the screen just now, there was like a cat. I had that character and I had this like water dragon looking thing or like water bug, like not water bug, but like a water type bug. And like those were the two that I was able to gather on my first play. I actually I'm going to download this demo because I want to see what else I could capture. I don't know if it was just like specific to those monsters, but actually if you look at the Void Sayer page, the monster that I'm talking about is actually, it's a squid looking alien guy. It's the guy right in the middle of the logo. That was the guy that I had. Might have been a starter, I don't know, because I picked up in the middle of like a playthrough that had just collected the cat character. Like, yeah, I was like, fuck it, I'll play it. Yeah.
This is me now.
Yeah. So I believe this is made by a solo dev as well. His name is Pavel. But it was very cool. I really enjoyed it, and it's coming out in just a couple of weeks. June 2nd.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Couple of weeks.
Very nice.
So throw that on your wish list and smoke it.
And then buy it when it's out in a couple of weeks.
Indeed. Buy it indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Know what else you should
What else
buy?
you got? Tell me.
Like, actually, you know what? We'll save this one for last. I'll tell you, I'm going to do back-to-back-to-back games here, Andy, because I have a few that I want to talk about.
3 you want to do in a row?
No.
A trifecta
I already
game?
did the one. Yes, 2 more. So
2 more.
2
And then
more.
the last?
No, the last
Is that what you're
one.
alluding to?
The last one is a you. You'll take the lead on it. So there's 3 left.
Gotcha.
Okay. The first one that I want to talk about is a game I absolutely fell in love with, and I was playing a broken version of the game. The game is called Gug. G-U-G. Gug.
Back throat. Gug.
Gug. This is a roguelike creature battler, where you have these little creatures. They're little gray little blob thingies, like fuzzy little blobs, called Gugs. And there's this like queen Gug, or like this like goddess Gug. That
Queen Gug.
It's like a big Gug that has like all these powers or whatever. So you take your little Gug and you put it in front of this almighty being, and then there's a prompt screen, and you just type a word, whatever it may be. My first one I did was speed. And then this god bestows upon you a brand new, completely unique Gug. The way it looks, its stats that it gets, its moves that it gets, its special abilities, the whole 9 yards, and the name of the Gug. You get your own Gug, and then you go through. It's a lane battler, so you'll have a bottom lane where your party lives, and there's each one has its own thing that you'll get for a Gug in that position at the beginning of your turn. So there'll be +1 health, +2 health, +1 attack, +2 attack, +3 health, whatever, like along the bottom. But your Gug always move down. So if you're moving a Gug up, those Gugs will shift down to the bottom left, to the leftmost part. Then there's lanes that you move them up. There's like 3 lanes, and the enemies will fill the lanes in front of you. So you want to match your Gugs to whatever Gug is going to be attacking that lane. So for example, my Gug that I created in the beginning, its ability was anytime I moved it, it got +5 attack. And it just kept stacking. So I would move up, kill one, move back down to my starter, on the next thing, get health. They would move down, I would move up, and it would gain. So I would just have +10, +15, whatever it was. And there's something else that's, first of all, I was speaking to the programmer of the game. The name is escaping me. I think his name was, I wanted to say Ian, but I think that's wrong. I'm trying to get him on the show. Say again.
Like 4 other guys, you were like, Ian.
No, one other guy. There was an Ian, but no, Evan maybe. I don't know. It's in I have the card somewhere. I apologize, but they created essentially they created their own little internal AI to create these creatures. It was one of the few uses of AI that I think was newer, in that we haven't seen this being implemented in gaming in either a long time or at all. It's not an outside AI. It's not like it's pinging ChatGPT. It's not like that. It's an internal thing. It's on the game. It's not, something else. And the permutations and everything. The other cool thing is the Gugs you create are then thrown into the ether so other people can get your Gugs. So the pool, it, like if they put in a word and like that, this not, I don't think it's based on the prompt you put in, it's based on the combo that you got. So like those
Oh.
abilities would then be specific to your Gug, and then your Gug gets thrown out, and your Gug might show up and fight other people in their run.
Oh,
Very
interesting.
cool. Very, very cool. Um, yeah, I honestly it was one of those games that I was playing, and when I say it was broken, I think I was playing either on a Steam, I think it was a Steam Deck, but I'm not 100% sure. Um, it it looked like stop motion, like the breathing and the animations were like very choppy, and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting way to animate these things. And then I looked over at the
Right.
station next to me, buttery smooth, absolutely
And
buttery
you're
smooth.
like,
I'm like, huh.
doodles.
And I was the second person to
I got the butt build.
I was the second person to complete a run. So I beat the boss, and I didn't lose any of my Gugs. I only lost the token Gugs that you get for like certain battles.
If you're playing in slow motion, you're
It was like whatever. And they were, and it wasn't until after the fact that they were like, thank you for your patience in getting through that like whatever, and they wound up resetting it after that. I was like, oh, I mean, I
here's
was
what
just,
it really plays.
yeah, I was ready to just be like, oh, it's an interesting choice to make it run so shitty. But yeah, it
2
was,
frames per second.
yeah, but it was awesome. And I had an absolute blast playing it. And I cannot wait for this game. It's coming out in July. That's their target. And I believe they are very much going to hit July. They were all but ready, essentially.
Alright,
So
bring
we'll
it
see
on.
what happens there. Before I get into this next game, which was my favorite game of the show, I wanted to talk because I had mentioned there was another game that was using AI in some very creative way. There were actually two. There was one called it was the girlfriend one. Oops, I just accidentally closed your camera. Sorry. I was gonna go
The
see if Jimmy
the
had.
girlfriend one,
Um,
I'm
yeah, it
already
was like
in.
an anime waifu girlfriend game. Hold on, I'm gonna scroll up in my chat. I'm forgetting the name. I didn't play it, but I can speak a little bit on it. It was AI to you. AI
Okay.
to you. Um, this was a anime like girlfriend sim where you're typing and chatting to this girlfriend, and depending on what you
Mhm.
say, she goes completely nuts and tries to kill you, and she'll like chase you around the house, and like it becomes a
I
horror
love
survival
this
game.
already.
Yeah, it becomes a high
Oh my
or
god, I love it.
yeah. I cannot
Up
speak
my alley.
for I cannot speak for how they're using the AI outside of they're using prompts. I don't know if it's connecting to a larger language model. I don't know personally. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't want to like go into that too much because they may be doing something that's not necessarily ethical with that. I don't think it is. We'll have to. I want to send some questions to them, get some comments because I want to write an article about this. Um,
Ethical. What would the unethical one be? It's a human being that's tied to a room just answering the questions. That's not really an AI.
no. It would be using like a chat GPT or a large language model, which is using a server farm, which is,
Yeah, but
sucking
I
the
wouldn't
energy out of life and supporting Elon Musk and yada yada. So it's like some
that's
people
the unethical piece?
some people don't like using AI in video games, whether it's art or whether it's what large
Sure.
language models, whatever it may be.
Right.
The other game that was using it was Nyric. Nyric it was in
Yeah.
very
It's
rough
like an
shape. It was
example, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
very bare bones, but they were basically showing off their concept, which is they hand design thousands of assets. At this point, I think they were only at like maybe a few hundred, but only. They're going to create thousands and thousands of assets, and then you put
Uh-huh.
in it's a crafting survival game where you put in a prompt for the world you want to explore. So like one of them that I created was like a crystalline world run by fairies with crystal spires, and it pulls the assets and like mashes them together, and it makes this world for you to explore. That's another really cool way because they're basically designing their own AI to pull from their own assets. Very cool. Awesome. So those were like 3 games that I saw that were using some AI in some way. Now to get off of that, I'm going to wet my whistle, as it were. For my game of the show, which was
Here we go.
I was enthralled. Andy, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a big fan of this game called Dark Cloud. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the show before.
It's not ringing.
Not ringing a bell. Okay. Well, I found a game again at the Polish booth, games from Poland, called LUSTRA, Lachea's Tale. This is a single-player adventure game where your airship crash lands on a floating island, and you have to explore the floating island and build a town from various materials you find across the islands, and then find people to work in your town, like other villagers or people from your ship. So it's got that Dark Cloud town building mechanic. You're building, a sawmill over here, and like you start to build out your little home base and everything. And then you could go out and explore and find cool shit to do and bring it back to your home base. Very charming. I got very Kena Bridge of Spirits vibes from like the world and like the combat. And then it's got that cool, like the animals are really cool looking. You could tame animals. There's these corrupted like rock creatures that you fight and gain some sort of resource. While I was messing around with it, you're also like this like mage spell slinger, so like you're unlocking different spells to use as your attacks. Matt was talking to the developer who was there, and he kept saying, well, Steve's not going to look up at all at any point, because I was completely enthralled. Like I was playing this game, I was setting up, building houses for people that were coming to the village, and like just getting completely into it. Like you have to put certain buildings near certain resources, and so it's got like that little bit to it. Like if you remember Dark Cloud, like you have to give people what they want, so that you can raise your happiness level and then whatever. So it's got a lot of that too. I was really enthralled by it, and I think that it has the visual production value and the gameplay production value to be something very special. I don't know if it was a localization thing or whatever, the voice acting felt very stilted. But again, I don't think this is coming out this year. But I was thoroughly impressed by this game. So it's called LUSTRA. Add it to your wish list. I added it immediately. It's just really cool. There's apparently a friendship mechanic to the thing, where you build relationships with other characters and stuff like that. So there's there too. Yeah, check it out. Again, it's called LUSTRA, Lachea's Tale. You could wishlist it as we speak.
It does look really good.
It did. It was really cool.
Kind of into it.
Yeah, man. You assign like each of the like little villagers or like people. I'm not sure if they were all from your ship and they got like thrown out. I think there are also people that were native to that island that like show up and are like, "Hey, we're trying to survive out here. Can we join your clan or whatever?" And everybody like wears these like cool masks, these cool like animal like fox masks, kitsune masks and stuff like that.
I've been seeing that. It's like a frog in a little getup.
Yeah.
Super cute.
And you know, they each have something that they're good at. So like, or like three things they're good at. There's one they're really good at, and there's one that like they're okay at, and like depending on what resources you need to like build up, you may put one person in the fishery or whatever, and another one in the sawmill, and the other one in the lumberjack hut or whatever, and like depending on their skill set, and like they'll do better in certain ones, and you know,
Yeah.
move them around. So really cool.
It does look good. It has like a little bit of a plasticky looking vibe of the models a little bit.
Yeah, again, it really
That
felt cartoony, like Kana to me. Like that's what it felt
yeah,
like.
yeah. But I'm digging the combat. I can't speak to the city building piece, but the combat looks really, really good.
Ooh, one of the things that like completely enthralled me was when you place a building, it literally builds it brick by brick, board by board. Like all the materials are there and they just get like sucked in and put in place, and you could see every piece getting put where they go. Like it's being built in front of your eyes. It was really cool. I was just like looking at it, I'm like moving the camera. I'm like, did that really, is that the eave of the roof? Is that, and I'm
Yeah.
like, all these things are just like sliding into place perfectly. It was really cool. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna wish list that, dude. That looks really good.
That's the
I'm
point,
sold on
man.
that. I'm sold on that. Yeah.
And then lastly on our list here, folks, are our new best friends.
Oh my god.
You know it to be true. They had a packed demo station where I think they had
Always
maybe
packed.
2 screens. I don't even know for sure. Maybe.
One of the busier demos of the entire weekend.
Yes. It had just
That's not
tiny
even
little
close.
corner in like that PAX Rising little area, whatever it was called.
Right.
It had the little stand. But man, when you walk past it, you're like, what is that? I want to play that. And excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the adrenaline fueled first person boomer shooter about a buff barbarian hacker taking down an evil undead corporate overlord. Yes, we're talking about CYBRLICH. Woo! Kicking doors in, smoking drugs, throwing Mountain Dew Code Reds at the walls and blowing shit up, using a sword and a gun and things. Let me tell you,
Taking down demons and shit.
this has Adult Swim like levels of humor in it. It is balls to the walls,
Like
insanity.
super on the heavy on the satire. It's really well, it's got a really fun aesthetic. It's like a black and white kind of a vibe going on
Yep.
with like big red splashes of blood, chicken vending machines to get the Mountain
To
Dew
get
grenades.
burgers, you eat burgers,
Yeah,
you
you
could
can
stack them
eat
3
burgers
high.
to like punish your health.
Yeah, man. It has like wide open areas and then like tight corridors where you can use a sword instead. Um, just fucking dope. It was just it was so cool. And Matt was the one that played it, and I think Matt was again I think he might have been the first person. He was either first or second. It might have been second person, but to complete the demo and
Yeah,
not
because the
die.
last room puts like you and two giant demon things in
Yeah.
this very small space.
I mean, Matt knows how
And
to play
he
these
was
games.
right.
Sliding
It's
and
what he does.
shooting and sliding and shooting. You have to smoke drugs to get your mental health up. And then there's like your physical health for the burgers. So you're like smoking the reefer drugs. Um, fucking dope. And they're going to be our new
It was
best
a really
friends.
fun experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
They won our best boomer show and the best humans of
Yes.
PAX East.
They did. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, they reached out post show, so they're gonna be on the show really soon. So I'm excited about that. They're fun dudes, and I can't wait to talk about where the game came from, its inspirations, and when the full game is out.
they were just two dudes doing the thing, you know?
Mhm.
And
You love to see it.
You really do. Listen to these bullet points here for this game. The player's goal
Okay,
is
here
to
we go.
traverse the CYBRLICH's labyrinthine corporate headquarters, making use of various weapons and utility items. And here's the bullet points. An Employee of the Month sword. A blood ritual-powered revolver. An explosive Mountain Dew bottle, trademark. They put the trademark there on the Mountain Dew. I don't know how they got away with that.
Yeah, I have a story when you're done. When you're done
Okay.
with the bullet points.
There's only two more. An infinite supply
Okay.
of deep weed for restoring your mental health. Demon burgers to heal your physical health. Very simple. 5
Very
items.
simple.
Go ahead, Andy. What's your story?
Their story is, didn't Matt like die in the demo area because you get a choice. You can sign the contract with
Right.
the evil corporation, and then Matt did it, and the game just ends.
Yeah, it kicks you back to like do
Yeah,
it, but
and
then but the game is aware of it.
right, and then the guy's like, one of the devs was like, "Hey, look around the room. Don't sign that contract."
Well, the
And that's
first
when you grab the sword off the wall and you slaughter the guy, and you
yeah,
go about
you
your
just
way.
slaughter the
But
wizard.
I just found it comical. Like he was like, "Yeah, I'll sign my life away. Sure, sure, evil corporation."
Yeah, it
Demo,
was funny.
you got the bad ending in 2 minutes
It's great.
of playing the game.
It was great. That was our PAX East coverage, man. That was fun.
Yeah, but I got a story though.
Yes,
Speaking about
story
bad
time
endings,
before
I
we
got a
go.
story. I
Okay.
got a story time. Why I love PAX East? I mainly go for the indie games. I don't care for the big booths. And there's it's not as personable when you go to a big large station. You'll seldom find actual team members at a large scale booth.
Right.
Devolver you'll find. Their teams all over the
Sometimes, yeah.
place in that
Yeah.
giant thing they erect. Crimson Desert was like one of the 3 big things
Yes.
I want to see at PAX East this year. Was the Elden Ring Dome, Devolver, Behemoth, with the only like airborne display hanging from the ceiling,
Indeed.
and Crimson Desert. Now, it was always packed, huge line to get into the show. But on the last day, it was very light. So around 3 o'clock, 4, I was like, you know what? The line seems really short. I'll probably get in the next viewing. I want to play this game. I want to check it out. It looks like a really solid, like single player action RPG.
Yeah.
So they take you into space, they give you the spiel. Here's the game, here's how it handles, here are the controls. There's a cheat sheet by your station. Don't worry about it, you'll be fine. We'll have staff to answer your questions. Totally great. So I get to the booth, and many cardinal sins were committed at this demo
Yes.
station.
I do remember this. Yes.
I want you to think about a game that you found challenging
Okay.
in recent memory.
Burger time.
Let's
Oh,
say
okay.
a Dark Souls,
Okay. Okay.
a game with a difficulty curve.
Okay.
Imagine learning the intricate mechanics of a Dark Souls, or any game for that matter,
Okay.
in a boss fight.
Okay.
So the demo had there's, I believe, 4 or maybe even 6, I forget the exact count, bosses that you can pick from to fight, each with varying difficulties. So I picked like a mid-level one for a bit of a challenge, thinking I would be at least fighting enemy mobs as I'm approaching the boss.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, nope, you walk like 5 steps, cutscene in a boss fight.
Okay.
What's my parry? What's my dodge? How do I attack? learning all this on the fly while you're being bombarded with shit,
All right.
not the best experience.
Not good. You don't want that.
Like you got to build me up a little bit.
We need a tutorial, guys. Come on, man.
Right. So I die.
Give me a skeleton. Give me like one lowly skeleton.
Yeah, I die.
Mhm.
Understandably. I'm not at all frustrated, but I get it. Okay. Let me go back in. So I go back in and I'm like, let me just play around in the world. Let me get the controls familiarized. My light attack, my heavy attack, dodging, parrying, where my potions are, my hotkeys, all that stuff. 3 times a guy came my way. Hey, you need help? Are you stuck? The boss is that way. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I just want to explore and like see the area and like play with the controls. I'll get to the boss eventually. I know where it is. It's like, it's that way. There's a waypoint. It's right in front of me. By the 3rd time, I snapped at the guy. I was like, I'm just exploring. Is that okay? I can do that. I almost put the shit down and walked away from the demo because I was like, dude, and also it's like a 10-minute demo, really short. So like the game has potential, but
That man's career
it
does
was one
not.
of the worst like experiences. Like, leave me alone, dude. And you're not even like part of the team. You're like, again, you're like a hired hand, which I get. But like, unless I'm raising my little hand, like the person said, if you need help, raise your hand. Like, I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. Leave me alone. Like, don't hold my hand. Like, I'm just enjoying the atmosphere. It was very annoying. And it's why I like small games, because a developer will watch you fail so he can learn. Why isn't my game teaching the player where to go?
Not
And he'll watch you like try to overcome an obstacle. Like, he should know where to go. My design isn't right.
yeah.
Not, oh, you have to go that way. Oh, give me that. You have to like, let me show you. Go around that corner, go there. That's a design issue.
Right.
And that's why I love indie devs. They let you to your own devices. And
To
they were just up my ass. Like they were looking for polyps, dude. Like, please.
to that end, when I was playing Lustra, I could hear Matt talking to the developer behind me. And I heard him say, this is really good that he's finding his way through, because it's not obvious exactly obvious where to go when you first crash land.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this is good. Sometimes I have to jump in and tell people where to go, but he's figuring out. And I took the thing off. I was like, that's because it's designed well. Like, it feels like I'm supposed to go this way.
It's good.
I'm like, it is. It was like you could just see the way the world was created, that like, oh, this is a place I want to explore. And then I did like that whole thing where you go backwards first to see if there's something hidden. And of course there was, because it's fucking game design. Of course there's something hidden behind you. But like, like you were saying, one of the best devs there was Tire Boy. Tire Boy was like an open world Zelda-like thing. It was completely ridiculous, but while I'm fucking around in Tire Boy, they're just letting me go. They're just letting me explore. I'm trying to climb up walls I'm not supposed to climb. I went behind a waterfall. Yeah, I went behind a waterfall, and they're like, something will be there when the game comes out. And I was like, can't put a waterfall in a Zelda-like game and not expect me to go behind it. So,
of course,
but
could you imagine like 3 times in 10 minutes being asked if you need help? I'm like, my guy, like,
did you show him your badge?
Yeah, of course.
Do you say, this means I know what I'm doing? I want to look at pixels. I want to look around and see how you do your volumetric fog on this.
Fucking volumetric fog.
What? Sometimes I want to look at games
in a jar.
I scroll around and I look at the sky sometimes. I look at leaves and look at how the ray tracing's coming through the trees. Sometimes I like to look at that shit. Yeah, I know the boss is over there, but leave me alone.
Yeah, but it just took me back to like E3 where it's like mainly AAA developers
Yeah.
and they're obsessed with you having a good time. They just get right in your ass, dude. Like they will walk you through because God forbid you walk with a negative experience. But the irony is him being so far up my ass was a negative
The negative
experience.
experience,
Like
yeah.
the game handled really well, beautiful game, like solid combat, a little floaty, could use some work, but good foundation.
Mm.
But for the love of God, like let me just play the game. It's a time demo.
This guy's
That's all I
living
got.
rent free in your brain. Let it go, man.
Seriously,
Let him go.
let him go.
And we're going to let you go, ladies and gentlemen, because that's going to bring us to the end of the show. We will, on that note, be back for PAX West later in August, right? Late August?
Labor Day.
Yeah,
So
Labor Day,
it's
Labor
end
Day
of
weekend.
August, beginning of September.
Labor Day weekend, we will be there.
Mhm.
So if you want to go, come hang out.
PAX on a Monday. I'm into it.
Yeah, man. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm into coming home on a Tuesday. It's way better.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Andy, for hopping on this late Monday evening. This was a blast. I'm sad Matt couldn't join us. I was hoping he would be able to join us for a PAX wrap up, but his job do be doing job things. But ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, you could join our Patreon by going to patreon.com/indieRIFT, just like our Patreon producer, Colton, the Journeyman Nestler. Thank you so much, everybody, for all of your support. We can't continue to grow without any of your support. No matter how small it is, it helps. Trust me. Liking, sharing, commenting, following us on various social media. Really, the biggest thing you could do is to just give a like on
the show.
Yeah, give a like on it. If
that is our wish list.
If you listen to the show in podcast form, do us a favor and every once in a while put on a playlist from our YouTube page and just let it run, because that really helps us a lot. Even though you're listening on your phone or whatever, the YouTube stuff helps us get in front of more eyes. So we do. Again, we appreciate it wholeheartedly, and share it with your friends on whatever social media you use. Hit that old share button, copy paste, say, hey, I found this really cool show that are a bunch of guys, two guys that talk about games, and they're idiots, and you can be too if you try hard enough. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, listeners. And as always, please be excellent to each other.